Folks, I want you to take a look at this video. 200 migrants crossing the Rio Grande in Texas into the open arms of Border Patrol agents who escorted them into buses for processing. This was on Memorial Day. And let's not forget why they want to come here, because this is the greatest nation in the world. No matter how often Joe Biden and his Democrats want to put us down, on this day, Border Patrol would arrest 1,000 of these migrants in Texas, Rio Grande Valley, before daybreak. This comes as we're getting news that the Open Borders Lobby, corporate-backed National Immigrant Justice Center, has submitted a plan to the Biden administration, asking Joe Biden to sign an executive order that would allow deported illegals to submit requests to return to the United States. The Trump administration deported nearly 1 million illegals. Team Biden is already considering another amnesty plan that would allow those deported under President Trump to return to the United States as well. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, Biden's Department of Homeland Security is also officially ending the Remain in Mexico policy. This was one of the most effective of President Trump's policies. So despite its effectiveness in preventing asylum fraud and limiting catch and release abuse, so now they are doing nothing to stop the massive invasion of illegals into our country. A lot of immigration news to cover. Joining me now is Newsmax contributor, visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and former acting Customs and Border Patrol Commissioner, Mark Morgan is here. Mark, always good to see you.
Thanks, Grant.
I want to start with ending the Remain in Mexico policy. It was a policy that made sense. It even limited the amount of people coming from the south to the border because they knew they were going to have to wait there. What do you make of this move by Team Biden?
Look, Grant, you're absolutely right. Look, your listeners need to understand what you're saying isn't just words. Let me give you a couple of facts that back up what you say. So look, one of the greatest loopholes in the height of the crisis in 2019 is if you made it to our borders because of our broken system with a family, you were allowed into the United States and never to be heard from again. The Remain in Mexico program closed that loophole. No longer, if you came to our borders with a family, were you going to be allowed in the United States. Now, look, that didn't mean we removed the due process. That means you had to wait in Mexico while you still went through due process, your asylum hearing in the United States. And the last point, what you said, is that stopped about 500,000 individuals from illegally entering the country in the year 2020. Think about that. 500,000 less came because they knew their claims were fraudulent. They knew that we had closed the loophole and they were no longer going to be released in the United States. Every single measure, that was a successful program, and this administration has removed it.
All right, Mark, I get tired of having to do this to you. I get tired of having to watch these things. I want to play you a clip of a young boy literally dropped off at the border. This is the reason why I say Joe Biden and his team have instituted the biggest scheme of child abuse that I've ever seen in my life. Just watch this clip and then I'll get your response.
Este niño acaba de ser abandonado en la frontera entre México y Estados Unidos. El menor llegó acompañado de una pareja, pero luego la mujer lo llevó hasta territorio estadounidense y lo dejó solo.
Mark Morgan, this little boy yelling to his mom, "Dad, don't leave me here." I mean, what's your reaction to this?
Look, I tell you what, Grant, I get fired up. I especially get fired up because this administration, especially the current DHS Secretary Mayorkas, is continuing to lie to the American people when he says that he has dismantled what were formerly inhumane policies. That's an absolute lie. That's another example. And Grant, how many do we have to see where the current open border policies is driving that inhumanity? I talked about 500,000 less even attempted. That's 500,000 less gave their life savings to the cartels. 500,000 less were abused by the cartels on the way up here. 500,000 less that child was left behind because he couldn't keep up. Thousands less rescued, needing rescue by the Border Patrol. The most inhumane thing that we can do right now is to absolutely have the open border policies that this administration is having and incentivizing people to turn their lives over to the cartels because they know once they get to our border, they're going to be released. And Grant, they're not just going to be released into the interior United States. Once they get here, they know they're not going to be removed.
Yeah, of course. Look, I'm convinced after talking with you for so long, after knowing inside and out the Trump administration policies, you all had compassion. What is going on right now is not compassion. As a father watching that little boy, it rips my heart out. And this is Joe Biden's America. Mark Morgan, as always, thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks, Grant.